This is Adventist World Radio Ghana, Voice of Hope.
AWR Ghana, Voice of Hope. Voice of Hope.
Hello, our cherished listener. Welcome once again to your program, The Heart of the Church. We are so delighted to have you here as we study God's Word. My name is Emmanuel Laye, and I'm here with our friends to help us with the study.
Gloria Osaibafo.
Franco Pokubuahin.
You are so welcome. We'll be looking at the investigative judgment for today. You know, our theme has been looking through the scripture to see how best we can interpret it. Today we are on the investigative judgment. So looking at the investigative judgment, this connoting that something is going on, and I'll not want to take the wind out of the sail. I'll just ask Frank to give us a background into what investigative judgment really is.
Now, if you go into the scripture, specifically in Daniel chapter 7, verse 9 to 14, we see a setting of investigation. For instance, we see a throne, or more or less a courtroom scene. A judge seated, people standing by him, advocates and the rest. That is the judgment scene we are talking about over here. But the purpose of this is that something is happening now in heaven, and that is the investigative judgment. And that basically it is about what is happening now in heaven with that very scene which Daniel saw in the vision. That is the investigative judgment.
So if I get you right, with the investigative judgment, there is a kind of judgment going on about people now awaiting the final judgment day when our rights and wrongs would have been determined. That is interesting because judgment scene of Daniel chapter 7 is directly parallel to the cleansing of the sanctuary as we know it. And I think with the cleansing, we are looking at the second coming of Jesus Christ. I don't know if you want to relate the cleansing of the sanctuary with the second coming of Jesus Christ, as we have learned from Daniel and the Daniel text that we have read.
The cleansing of the sanctuary actually depicts the cleansing of the heavenly sanctuary even before the coming of Jesus Christ. That is where the horn, the little horn, after its persecutive powers persecuting the saints, because you see that right after verse 8 of chapter 7, Daniel chapter 7, it was after the horn has persecuted the saints, it is then that the judgment scene comes in, that I watched till thrones were put in place, because the Ancient of Days had to intervene in the case of the saints. And here it gives us this assurance that there is a judgment that is ongoing even now. And this judgment was necessitated because God cares so much about his saints being persecuted. And even then, he has intervened up in heaven. And it is not just judgment, but it is investigative. So the whole, when we describe the enormity of the power of the God here, how he's arrayed in the courts, heavenly courts, on behalf of fallible human beings like us, then we know that our God has not just left us to the persecuting powers of the little horn, but he has intervened on our behalf.
God has intervened. So then what should be our role also? We want to be on the good side, so to speak, of this judgment. What do we do now as investigation is going on, Frank?
What do we do now? That is a very important question as we look at this subject of investigative judgment. Now, like I mentioned earlier, the courtroom scene. The advocate is there, and maybe the accused person is also there. And then another person, the accuser. Okay. So the accuser makes a case against the accused, and then the accused tries to defend through the advocate. That is the exact scene going on in heaven. So now as we sit here, that scene is going on in heaven, whereby Jesus is our advocate, and then our accuser is there accusing us. So then, our lives are being investigated now. Every action, decision that we are taking, it is being investigated, so that at the end of time, a pronouncement is made. So, like we are saying, by the time Jesus Christ comes, he is going to make a pronouncement. By the time he comes, he knows those who are classified as the sheep. He knows those who are classified as the goat. It's not the time he comes that he's going to do all those. So this investigation period, we need to amend our ways, do things right, so that by the time he comes, we know where we are.
Thank you so much. We don't want to be found on the wrong side of judgment. And so in this period, as investigation is going on, our dear listener, we want you also to be on the right side. And so let us do what is right, as the Bible has taught us, until he comes again to take us home. Until we do so, then, have a wonderful time and stay blessed.
Welcome to today's edition of A Healthy You. And today we are going to discuss something peculiar that you'll be surprised about. And I have with me Dr.
Maurice Mensah.
And I'm your host, Edward Boahen, and we're going to give you a very interesting, healthy discussion that will brighten your day and make you smile. And Doc, before we go on to our topic for today, I just want us to take us through something. Okay, so Doc, over the years we've heard something called New Starts, and then after New Start we heard of celebration, and now we hear what is called Steward. And can you brief us, where did we get New Start from, and why are we doing Steward now? Where did they come from?
Okay, thank you very much for having me. I think we are very privileged as a society, peculiarly Adventist, Seventh-day Adventist. Our health teachings, when you look at the core and fundamentals of our health teachings, it actually emanates from a divine perspective. So right from the biblical point of view and the spirit of prophecy basis, we were able to develop New Starts to help us, cover all aspects of our health: physical, mental, spiritual, emotional, whichever aspect of health. Those acronyms are supposed to cover and get hold or the glimpse of all that we are supposed to know about health. But as and when time goes on, we will have to be also somehow dynamic, look at the current trends and situations in life, and then still hold the core and fundamentals of the health, yet be able to appeal currently to people with the new trends that will be ongoing. So we came to celebration. When you look at celebrations, all that it was talking about were still inculcated in the New Start. And currently, as we are about to tackle stewards, you still see the relevance of whatever the aim or the core purpose has been. Yet, though it has been able to generate to this extent, we still possess our core principles of health that we want to hold on to.
Okay, all right. So if I got you right, this word steward is actually an acronym, and each letter stands for something.
Sure.
Can you take us through what each of them stands for?
Okay, thank you. Stewards, S for sunshine, and then T for trusting God, and then we have E for exercise, W for water, A for air, R for rest, and then we have D for diet, and then the last S for self-control.
Okay, thank you very much for giving us what all of these letters of the acronym stewards stand for. And so today, my wonderful viewer, we're going to talk about S, the very first letter of the stewards, which is sunlight, and that is what we are going to talk about today. So I hope you are going to be blessed by this discussion. So Doc, sunlight, we see the sun every day. I mean, we wake up. If we wake up and there's no sun, it means today is a very weird day. It's cloudy. It's gonna rain. So I mean, sun. We all have so many uses of the sun and all of that. But before we go inside, can you just take us through some of the most important uses of sunlight in our lives as humans?
Okay, thank you very much. First, I will want to tackle preservation of nature,
Okay.
which we normally don't talk about.
Okay.
I believe that God created everything for a purpose, of which it has to achieve it on this planet Earth. Without the existence of the sun, human beings will not exist too. The sun has a peculiar role in human lives, not only in human lives, but generally in nature. So the most basic uses that we know of the sun, or the benefits that we can derive from the sun, probably drying our clothes, drying our foodstuffs in order to preserve them for us, certain times to hydrate certain foodstuffs and leaves and other things for us in the system. We know that it kills germs in the system. It's able to heat up our water. It heats up our own bodies and helps the body's mechanism in reacting to nutrients here and there, in maintaining good health and optimum health. Beyond that, when you look into nature, sun was specifically made to contain life.
Okay.
It was specifically made to preserve life.
Okay.
And I'm talking about all sort of lives. So it's not only human beings who benefit from sunlight. There were a lot of organisms in the system who benefit from sunlight. So you talk of plants. Without sunlight, plants can never survive.
Sure.
Talk of human beings. I don't classify human beings as animals. Scientists does.
Yeah.
But I do not.
Christian scientists, we don't.
Good. So I believe that human beings are different from animals because the Bible tells us so. So human beings also derive a lot of benefits from sunlight. And then other creatures like the animals also benefits. But the effect that it will have on us will be the same effect it will have on the animals. And then apparently some other effects too on water bodies.
Okay.
When you look at the aquatic animals, most of them do not even get exposure to the sun. Yet the sun reacts with their environment, the sea, the river, the water bodies in general, rivers, streams, all that. And then it causes kind of reaction, which those aquatic animals in there could benefit from for their sustenance. So when you look at the scope of the importance of sunlight in the system, it's a whole lot. But these are the very few ones we know in the system.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you very much, Doc. And this has been some very revealing. Sorry, because you've talked about so many importance. Okay. Oh, we've talked about so many interesting points about the sun and what the sun does in our lives, not just as humans, but also for animals and the entire universe as a whole, which is very important. So now I want us to tackle the health aspects of the sun that's you spoke about. One very obvious thing that comes up when it comes to the sunlight is about the heat the sun brings. So I want us to know, is there any benefits? Do you have any benefits of this heat, and what is the difference between that heat we are getting from the sun compared to the heat we get from some of these devices around us, from the iron, from the microwave? If you could tell us.
Okay, thank you very much. Nature is nature.
Okay.
And as it's naturally made, it composes of certain elements that are natural from the Creator himself. We human beings can name them, we can talk about them, yet we don't know how all those things came about. I get to my point. Yet we human beings, through our developmental mentality and faculties, we've been able to come up with ideologies and intelligence by building certain equipments and devices which will equally provide certain things we could get from nature. So when you look at heat, for instance, the heat we are getting from the sun is totally different from the heat we will get from other devices. Yet it could serve a purpose. I get to my point. You can place water on the sun. The sun can heat the water for you. You can also heat water on your gas, or is it stove or whatever.
Yeah.
You can use water heater, that device, to heat your water. So you might want to achieve something of which the sunlight can give you. Yet, most of the times, what I tell people is, if we have the chance to get to a certain destination with nature, let us prioritize that and go in for that. Whereby we are incapacitated and challenged and cannot get to a certain destination or achieve a certain goal by natural means, then we fall on artificially what we have provided for ourselves. And the natural heat from the sun, it's very beneficial for the human system.
Okay.
Are you okay? It reacts with your system, provides a lot of nutrients for human sustenance. Right now we are talking about human health and sun. So I want to concentrate on that. And probably some other time other creatures can actually be introduced into the discussion. So when you look at the relationship between sun heat and our normal heat that we human beings produce on this earth, even some of our heat causes a lot of disorders in the system, some of our heat. And with the sun heat, it can only cause a disorder when you don't appropriately acquire it.
Okay.
So the appropriate acquisition of the natural sun will help you. But inappropriate acquisition of it might cause a malady or a disorder in the system. But with the human heat, we are able to control it. But it is not that it's relevant in our system. But when it comes to the body's health and the body's reaction with heat, we solely have to rely on the sunlight or the sun heat for our system. The reason why I say that is, when heat emanates from our devices, it doesn't mean it will help your body to produce any nutrients to help you. But with the sun heat, when it touches your skin, the steroids beneath your skin, which will react with it, with the ergosteroids to provide vitamin D and all that. Now, last time I was educating some people on that. That is not the sun itself that gives you the vitamin D. And it's not only vitamin D. It has other minerals and vitamins the body generates whenever you get in contact with or you are exposed to the sunlight. So the sunlight will rather help the system to generate heat, which will lead the system to come up with its own mechanism some nutrients and vitamins that are so needful and necessary to maintain our physical health.
Okay, all right. Well, that was very, very insightful, and I hope you got a lot from that. Now, Doc, there's this notion, or let me say, there's this general view that early morning sunlight. I mean, we all learned it in school, back in primary school, junior high school. We all learned that the early morning sunlight is beneficial to us. Now, when we say early morning, what time of the day is early morning? Is it 6 a.m.? Is it 7 a.m.? Is it 9 a.m.? Because it's all morning. Which time of the day does this early morning fall into?
Okay, thank you very much. When they say that, they try to adjectivize it that early morning sunlight, they are actually talking about the sunlight, but they are letting us know the peculiar kind of sunlight they want to talk about. It is when the sun is rising, and then you have that calm feeling on your skin.
Okay.
When the sun starts rising, and then you are exposed to it, it shines on your body, and you have that kind of feeling. The reason why they are saying that is not because the morning sunlight has a kind of special properties in it, which probably the main scorchy sunlight doesn't possess. That is not the case. But we are rather looking at the damage it might probably cause your skin. If it is highly scorchy, there are certain times when it's like 1 p.m. in the afternoon, 2 p.m. Certain times you realize the sun is very scorchy.
It's very harsh on your skin.
Very harsh on your skin. When you get into it, you feel so bad because it really heats up your system, and at times it ain't a good feeling. I get to my point.
Exactly.
But with the morning sunlight, it's calming, it's soothing. It will give you the same properties that the hard one will give you.
Okay.
So we rather advise that with the morning one, if you want to expose yourself to it, the morning one is equally effective as the afternoon one. Yet the afternoon one might cause some kind of dermatological or skin disorders because of how scorchy and harsh it could react with your system. So the main ideology or philosophy behind the morning sunlight is because we don't want it to affect you negatively whilst you are anticipating to get derive the appropriate benefit from it. You wouldn't apparently, on the other hand, get any kind of disorder from the good intentions while you are going in for the sun.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much. Now, at least that helps us to understand that it's not because the afternoon sunlight or the late afternoon sunlight is devilish
bad.
or it's bad. It's the same thing, just that one has a very bad scorching effect, which everybody can attest to, and it's not a comfortable feeling.
Sure.
That you should go and endure that one. Now, when it comes to the early morning sunlight that we're talking about, it goes down well with our skin because it's not so scorchy, and so we enjoy it. Now, my next question to you is that what is the best way to tap this benefit or to tap this early morning sunlight? Is it just standing in the sun? Is it just sitting in the sun, or taking a stroll, or jogging in the sun? Which one is the best way to tap this sunlight in the morning?
Right. Looking at the factory God has set beneath our skin to work with the sunlight to provide us with the vitamins in the system, it best works when you are active in the sun. So it could be any kind of activity that you want to run in the morning sun, probably jogging, probably aerobics. You can just be chatting with someone, anything that will make you active, probably washing.
Okay.
So if you even want to wash, you can come out of your room or your any apartment in which you wash, and then you come to the outside room where you get access to the morning sun whilst you wash. When you are active in the morning sun and you are even able to produce the heat, your heat glands, the glands that produces the heat, that is where the mechanism of producing nutrients comes from.
Okay.
So when your glands are able to heat, your sweat glands, or some people call it the heat glands or sweat glands, is able to heat up your system. It also helps you excrete out toxins. Okay. And when there's that kind of correlation between the sun impact and then the mechanical or the chemical reaction within the sweat glands to come up or to come out with toxins from your system, it highly beneficial. It's unlike someone who will be striving to bring up heat due to the temperature in which they are. There are some people, you get to their area and the temperature is below 10. So they have to struggle very much before they can heat up their system. Heating up your system easily with the morning sunshine is the best thing that you can ever do before you probably take your morning bath.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Doc, for the insight you've given us today about sunlight. I mean, we've spoken about what the sun does for us as humans, what it does for animals, what it does for the aquatic life, and in general, what the sun does for the whole universe. And you've given us an insight also about the fact that the sunlight itself doesn't have any magic, if I should say, or doesn't have any direct nutrients it gives us. It's the reaction with our skin cells. That is what gives us all these benefit that our bodies need for our own benefit of our own well-being. So thank you very much for that. Whatever God has given us in nature, let us make the best use of it for our own good and for our own benefits. All too soon our time has run out, but next week, God willing, we shall come your way with this same program, and we continue with where we left off on sunlight and get into more detail about the sun that we see every day, what it does for us, and the best way you can get enough of the sun. God bless you, my listener, my viewer. God bless you, my wonderful listener, for your time and for listening to us. And God bless you too, Dr. Morris, for your time on the show.
Thank you for having me.
You are welcome, Doc. And next week, God willing, we'll come back your way to continue where we left off today. A healthy you, a healthy me, a healthy word. God bless you.
We would like to hear from you, so call us on the number +233 50 15 61 849 +233 50 15 61 849. You can also email us at the address adventistworldradiogh@gmail.com adventistworldradiogh@gmail.com. You can also write a letter to us using the postal address Adventist World Radio Ghana, Northern Ghana Union Mission of Adventists, P.O. Box KS 17564, Edum, Kumasi, Ghana, West Africa. For AWR Ghana, I am Belle. May God bless you.
AWR Ghana, Voice of Hope.